Tornado explosion and flood attack Massachusetts without mercy. Incredibly heavy rainfall across Massachusetts has submerged entire cars and destroyed buildings as the East Coast was swept by flooding for the second day in a row. Several businesses in North Andover were badly damaged by the flash floods, a problem that emerged in several Massachusetts communities on Tuesday. Video shared shows floodwater pouring out of a window at Mills on High Street. North Andover Fire Chief John Were said the complex was housing more than 110 businesses and 120 people in loft-style apartments. The heavy rain caused the pool behind one of the factory buildings to overflow, which forced the water into the building. The pool in the back broke. All the water just went down this alley going nowhere but through my door, my restaurant, and the toy company next door, said Jamie Faria, owner of Jamie's Restaurant. We watched the water in the pool rise to levels I've never seen before. There was so much force it pushed right through the window, said resident Elizabeth Haler. They told us to evacuate. Floodwaters sent furniture and fridges tumbling out of windows and onto High Street. Firefighters then needed to break more windows to get more water out of the building. I survived the gas explosion, I survived COVID, and I always said I could, but this I do not know, I really don't know, Faria said of his 13-year-old restaurant on High Street. I don't know where to start. Faria says it will take him months to reopen Jamie's Restaurant. But in reality, his fellow business owners in Mills are facing even more challenges. Even if we didn't have as much water damage, we still lost commissions for a while, said business owner Sally Finnemore. Residents of the Mills building who had been evacuated were allowed to return to their homes on Tuesday night. The tornado made landfall in Massachuse, Massachusetts, about an hour's drive from Boston early Tuesday as the state took the brunt of weather systems moving through the area. Severe rainfall flooded New England throughout the day, causing travel chaos, flooding roads, and sending officials scrambling. Flood warnings were introduced in several states, and water rescue teams were deployed in western Vermont. The rainfall came just a day after a series of storms hit the East Coast, killing at least 2 people and leaving nearly 1 million people without power. The National Weather Service confirmed that a tornado hit the small village after investigating the damage, saying winds were nearly 100 miles per hour and roughly 300 yards wide. The officials also warned the storm may have destroyed the city's water treatment center, although no injuries or deaths were reported from the tornado. Tornado warnings were also issued earlier in the day for several other central Massachusetts cities, and the storm system caused heavy rain across the county, resulting in rapid flash flooding. Flood alerts remained in effect Tuesday night across central and eastern Massachusetts, where many cars were seen completely submerged in the aftermath of the floods. Police in Natick, Massachusetts, said several vehicles got stuck as the road became impassable, a problem seen in reports on social media in several other Massachusetts cities, including Newton and Framingham. The Massachusetts Department of Transportation also reported that several major roads in Revere, New Bedford, and sections of Interstate 95 were forced to close due to flooding. With the Patriots set to play the Houston Texans to kick off their preseason, Boston subway service was temporarily replaced by buses after flooding flooded the underground system. In Maine, flash flood warnings were introduced for most of the state after receiving approximately 5 inches of rain. The National Weather Service issued a marine warning for coastal areas and sailors due to very high waves and gusts of more than 50 miles per hour pounding the state's coastline. Officials in Exeter, New Hampshire, warned the area's weather would improve through Tuesday evening and could bring another 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour. The Exeter Fire Department posted a message: "Be careful if you're traveling in several rounds of heavy rain today. Turn around, don't drown" is always the message from our firefighters if you encounter a flooded highway. Water rescue teams were dispatched across western Vermont, while large parts of the state were placed under a flood watch. Tuesday's disaster came just a day after at least 2 people were killed and nearly 1 million people lost power as more storms hit the East Coast. In Westminster, just outside Baltimore, 33 adults and 14 children were trapped by power lines that fell in high winds. The devastating weather front caused damage in multiple states, with footage showing destruction from Atlanta, Georgia, to New York. Flights across the eastern United States were delayed or canceled, affecting some of the nation's busiest airports, including Atlanta, Philadelphia, Charlotte, JFK, and Newark. By the end of Monday, nearly 8,500 flights within, into, or out of the United States had been delayed, and 1,735 were canceled. A 15-year-old boy was killed in Anderson, South Carolina, when a tree fell on his grandparents' garage.